Then would you lead us in a pledge, please?
My pleasure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. Good morning, Century Village. Before I get started with the law enforcement report, there's a special presentation here. So I'd like to introduce your treasurer and Denise from Honor Flight.
Thank you. Before we get into our regular agenda, I just want to introduce Denise Rousseau from the Honor Flight and just give you a little bit of background. When I took over as treasurer a few months ago, I was slogging through the accounts and I came across this one account with a little money in it and came to mind, I got to go talk to John Gregg about that and see why. It was an Honor Flight and 5K run account. And it had just been ignored for several years because, as you know, from COVID, just before COVID, we hadn't had any more fundraising events for obvious reasons, and no one's really picked up that mantle. So after 15 years of Kitty with the Act Two players doing fundraisers, and John and some other folks who are here and not with us, unfortunately, anymore, we had great support for the 5K run that raised over $25,000 over that period. And this little bit, $1,000 was left, and I just couldn't stand it. Every month I run the accounts and I look at it and say, we've got to do this. So John got in touch with the Honor Flight folks, and I'm really proud to be able to give this little donation of $1,000 that you have all donated to over the years. It's just very late coming. So here, I'd like you to have that. If you want to have a few words.
Good morning. I'm Denise Rousseau with the Southeast Florida Honor Flight. We're one of 9 hubs in Florida that take veterans to Washington, D.C. for a one-day trip. Right now, we still do have a few World War II veterans that we take on each trip. We fill in with Korean veterans next, and then the rest of the airplane, we charter an entire jet for the day with American Airlines, and the rest of them are Vietnam veterans who are all so very deserving, and we spend the day honoring them from beginning to end. But we absolutely could not do what we do without donations like this, because we get no public funding. We are all volunteers. None of us are paid. And we've been doing this since 2009. So we take 4 flights a year, 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall. So we take about not quite 400 people a year. And we are working our way through our waiting list, and we deeply encourage any veterans that you come across to, I've given your treasurer our contact information. We have an application on there that's easy to fill out, or you would get my phone number from her. We will be putting something on your channel, we hope, very soon to tell you more about what we do, because we are passionate about honoring our veterans and giving them a terrific day, showing appreciation for what they've done for our country. But if you have any questions for me, you can certainly reach me through your treasurer or what we're going to be putting on your channel. And we would love to hear from you. If you want us to come speak to your group sometime and tell you in more detail about what we do, I'd be happy to do that as well. So again, thank you for this contribution. It makes all the difference in the world that we can keep doing what we're doing.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back to Captain.
While you're listening to the law enforcement report, please review the minutes.
All right. Good morning again, Century Village. So I'm going to go over before I go over the reports for the month of July, just want to caution everyone with some weather that's out there. The heat's really bad. Please make sure that you're hydrating and you're taking care of each other and your neighbors. Because if you're out there doing any kind of activities, if you're doing a walk in the morning or you're enjoying the pool, make sure you're drinking a lot of water and stay hydrated. We have had some issues with some heat casualties. And expect a lot of rain this weekend. There's a tropical system that's supposed to come into South Florida. So just be aware of that if you're driving on the roadways. So for the month of July, not too bad. We had a light month. Our traffic stats are pretty good. We conducted 50 traffic stops in the village. 62 citations were issued. So that's 62 people that probably didn't have a really good moment there in time, but hopefully they learned a lesson. We had 1 written warning and 8 verbal warnings, and only 3 accidents in the village, which is pretty good. And excuse my using my device here. I like to have paper, but I didn't get a chance to print it out. Our calls for service this month, or for July, 207 calls for service. 37 case numbers were reported. Of those case numbers are cases of interest. In Camden, we had a reported residential burglary. So the resident reported that $20 cash was taken from his residence, and there was pry marks observed near the front door. So just be aware, that we do have on occasion criminals that prowl through the neighborhoods looking for opportunities. Make sure you lock your doors, and if you see anything suspicious, you call us right away. We had 2 bicycle thefts. Neither bicycle was locked. This one happened in Kent, the other in Waltham. So again, if you have valuables, secure them, because there are people that get invited in here that have ulterior motives and sometimes are opportunistic and can walk away with things. 1 vandalism to the laundry room. The metal plate on the door frame was broken. There was nothing else in there of concern in the laundry room, but the door was damaged, and that was in Norwich. And we had 1 fraud to note. There was a loss in this one. The victim received a phone call. He believed to be Xfinity, stating there was a flag on his account, and he needed to pay to get his Xfinity account reactivated. So the victim took $6,000 out of his bank. Yep, and sent it to the suspect via Bitcoin. So I've never had to pay Xfinity, FP&L, or my water company with Bitcoin. So, that's definitely a clue. We get up here every month and we tell people about these frauds that take place. Just hang up on people. If your cable's still on and your Wi-Fi router's doing good, I don't even answer my phone half the time, and I have to, and I look at a number, it's not programmed in my, I take a chance. I'll listen to a voicemail. If it's a business call, then I'll return the call. It's not worth getting entangled with these people on the phone or with a suspicious email. So with that said, I'm gonna give some good news and some bad news. So bad news is this will be my last meeting as your captain or as your commander for District 3 in charge of Century Village. I'm moving on. Thank you. I have your new commander here. I'll introduce in a moment. So the sheriff saw fit to promote me to major. So I'll be assuming a larger. Thank you. Thanks. So, I feel very blessed, very fortunate, but I'll be moving to the central part of Palm Beach County. I'll be in charge of what's called our East Regional Bureau. So that'll be District 1, Lake Worth Beach, and the city of Green Acres. So those captains will report to me as the major. And I'd like to introduce a great colleague of mine, a phenomenal captain. He's been at the sheriff's office just as long as me, 26, 27 years. A former SWAT commander, former experience in the city of Delray Beach, and a lot of different commands here at the sheriff's office. He's just leaving our training bureau. This is Captain J.B. Killingsworth, and I'll let him introduce himself. And I know you got a busy meeting. We'll let you get back to it.
Morning.
Yeah. I'm high challenged.
So my name is J.B. Killingsworth. I'm actually an 8th generation of Florida native. My parents and my family generational have been down in the Miami area long before, long living by the Seminole Indians. Been in law enforcement for 32 years. Pete and I actually started the same day, so we go way back, and I tell you, it's going to be hard filling his shoes because he is a great guy. Little bit about myself is, like he said, I worked in Delray. Before that, went to the University of Tennessee, so I'm an SEC fan. And before that, I did 15 years in the Marine Corps. Did quite a big stint the original Gulf War, but spent a big chunk of time in Tel Aviv when I was there. Some of the things I love working about here at the Sheriff's Office is my time in Special Ops with SWAT and everything else. Personally, my wife and I have been married for about 25 years. She's a geochemist for the University of Florida, way smarter than I am, so she balances our checkbooks and everything. I adopted 3 kids about 10 years ago from Colombia. They were siblings, and that's my full-time job right now. So at some point, I'll be able to get to meet you more, but I wanted to turn it and not hold you guys up. Thank you.
And we'll see you at 1 o'clock.
Thank you. Our fire department wants to say a few words because he's working.
Morning, Al. Morning. How's everyone doing? I was on vacation last month with my family, so I was enjoying that. I just want to reiterate, we're in hurricane season. Be prepared, have a plan, get 30 days of your medication ready, right? Talk to your doctor just in case if you have to travel. Get that planned ahead of time, things like that. Now with the high water and this rain coming in, Palm Beach County, I represent 2928 Union, but our fire department, Palm Beach County here, has a high water truck. Please do not try to drive through big puddles that you can't see, because 2 feet of water can float your car, and or at night, it might look like a road, and then we have canals in Century Village, you'll drive right in the canal. So stop, get out of your car, go over to your friend's house, have a cup of coffee, or if you have to get out, park it somewhere else, and then walk on dry land. That's more important. Down wires too, please do not touch them. Don't say, oh, I think that's a cable. That's only for the internet. Well, we don't want to find that out. Call FP&L or someone on your phone first. Do not touch them, leave them be. Please, we will come out and we'll call FP&L. We have a hot stick. We don't even touch them, because that'll shock me from here to the parking lot, and I'm done. So please be very careful. With the heat too, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. Talk to your doctor, whatever medications. Some medications will dehydrate you quicker, so you might have to drink a little more water, right? Things of that. Electrolytes, things of that. Make sure you've got the balance, right? That's how we run our bodies. So on that note, like I always say, remember the guys and girls, the firefighters at Station 23 that runs in here all the time with the little kids with the plastic helmets. This is not a job, it's a calling. So, thank you guys. Anyone have any questions? No? One other thing is with the hydration, I'm just going to add a little story. We're usually never off duty. So I was mountain biking with my wife up in Johnson-Dickinson State Park. We have our camelbacks on. I always wear a camelback. I wear it at the station. I have it in my truck right now. I'm going to go fill it up. She goes, hey, the day before, she was really overwhelmed by the heat. She says, I still want to give it a shot. So I take her. She goes, you keep on riding, and I'll wait here at the park bench for you. I said, all right. So I go for a ride. Also, next thing I know, I turn a corner. I'm coming out of the trail. She's screaming my name. I'm like, oh, boy. Like, well, there was a gentleman that did not bring enough water and was having heat stroke, and she's calling me to service him. I have to call 911, start like a little mini command to get them out there. So it does happen. It will overwhelm you. If you're behind the 8 ball, right, it's going to continue to do that. So you got to get ahead of the 8 ball. That's all. That was the moral of that story. And the lady handed me 1 water bottle for 2 people. And it was the next day we went to that same trail when we were pulling in to check in with the park ranger. There was a sign, bring enough water for you and whoever else. It literally was right there when you pull in, couldn't get past it. So please stay hydrated. It is a very hot summer, and please do not drive through high water. And have a great day. Any questions? No questions? Have a great day. I gotta go back to shift.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion made by Sandy Levine, seconded by? Joyce Reese, okay. Are there any corrections to the minutes as presented? The minutes will be accepted as presented. We're going to start with Donald today.
Oh, okay. I'm always surprised when he says we'll start with Donald. Good morning, everyone. Nothing of significance to report, but I do have a few updates that I think you should know. The first is on the Corporate Transparency Act filing, which was discussed at the previous meeting here. Seacrest has asked me to let you guys know, for those of you that are managed by Seacrest, they'll be ready for you in about 1 week. They're putting the final touches on the application form, and you'll be hearing from them very shortly to, if you want to have your corporate transparency filing done by Seacrest. Pruitt is ready for you now if you're managed by Pruitt. Just get a hold of Fester, and he'll forward you to his accountant, who's going to do the filing for you if you want. Second thing is, I know that you've all heard from me again and again about having proper authorization and permitting for construction work, also insurance. This is an ongoing effort, and I think we're making some progress here, but you guys are our eyes and ears out there. If there is construction or demolition going on in your building, is there a permit? Is the board aware of it? Has they approved it? Is there insurance? You need to ask these questions. And, if you have a question, come here to UCO, ask your own manager, engage your boards. That's all I have to say about that right now. Next thing. Yes, John, go ahead.
Did Seacrest put a dollar amount on that application?
I hear you're talking about the corporate transparency filing. The last I heard from them was $150. I don't expect that'll change. Next, Reflection Bay. Bulldozing has begun. The bulldozers are on the property. They finally got their land clearing permit. The reason I'm telling you this today is because if you live anywhere near Reflection Bay and your building doesn't have a rodent control program in place, I strongly suggest you get it done now. If you have to call Hewlett, if you have to call Marty, get those traps and those bait stations in place. There's going to be wildlife creeping out of that place. It just stands to reason. It's 15 years or more of being wild kingdom over there, and now it's going to be leveled. Buildings, trees, the whole 9 yards. It's going to look like a prairie out there. So just a word to the wise. Check your buildings, check with your managers and your boards. Make sure you have it. I see somebody in the back there. Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm wondering, what if you become aware of some work that's been done in your buildings, in somebody's condo?
Sure.
But it's already done.
Well, that's a difficult thing, and that's why I'm forever saying, guys, let's get on top of this stuff before.
So we
It
should be sending letters to everyone to
And look,
remind them?
there's no easy answer to your question. There's a lot of, it depends on, right? What's been done, who did it, what does the board know, in those cases, it's really on a case-by-case basis. You, the board, should be documenting what you found, and then check with your attorney and your property manager and see what's the best way to go forward. In some cases, the thing to do is nothing, right? It depends. I hate to be vague like that, but there really are a lot of different scenarios. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Judy. Why is it taking so long? Let me repeat what you're saying. Why is it taking so long to process what?
Okay, the 2 units that you gave us.
2 units.
And they did the inspection and everything. 3 years later, things were.
Okay, so Judy, you asked this question last month, and I remember it because it was a good question. But the answer is, once there's been an illegal construction or a badly done construction, you got to be careful because it takes years sometimes to resolve these issues. So why does it take so long? Because you let it happen in the first place. So keep your eyes peeled and get on top of this stuff before it happens. Once it becomes a fait accompli, you got a problem on your hands as a board, right? So that's really the answer. That's why I keep harping on this. One more thing, guys, connected to the Reflection Bay project, which is up and running, is the redredging of the South Canal, which is the jungle that extends across our entire southern border from Fairway Street, Bedford, all the way over to almost a turnpike. there is progress on that, and that's a UCO project done in conjunction with Reflection Bay. The survey work is complete, finally, and the next step is to get an engineering plan for the redredging, regrading, and land clearing across that entire stretch of canal. So that's where we are with that. I thought you'd like to know. And slowly but surely, that project, which is kind of important, creeps along. And that's all I have for today for you, unless you guys have some work for me or some questions. Hi, Olga. I'll repeat what you said if you don't want to come down. Sorry. Okay, so Olga's question is, she thinks that UCO should establish a training program for the boards so that they can do their own corporate federal filing themselves. This was discussed, Olga, and after getting legal and other opinions, we've decided that this is not something that's within our expertise to do. This would be, to me personally, this would be like me saying, let me show you how to file your own tax returns. Very similar thing, right? It's a federal financial filing. This, in my opinion and in the officer's opinion, belongs in the hands of professionals, and it seems like the professional is the accountant. I'm aware that there is a club that is advocating self-filing. And if that's the way the board, not individual board members, want to go, that's a business decision for, as we said, $150. I can't give you that advice. I think that this is something that really, it's a simple thing. I think we're making a little bit more of it than we need to. Give it to the accountant, let the accountant take care of it. And then you don't have to worry about it. Hi. Hi, Regina. Thank you, Regina.
About
Good
2
morning.
weeks ago, I sent an email to UCO that the Small Business Administration, the government agency that I work for, had a class which was free on Everbright on
Okay.
how to file. And I would hope that, that was sent out to the whole village.
No, it
Maybe
was not. It was
I
not
didn't see
sent
it in
out
your
because we
report.
don't think that that's an advisable thing to do.
Okay, well,
And I think all the officers are in agreement here.
Okay, well, just a heads up that the Small Business Administration, which is a government agency, had a free class on Everbright on how to file the Transparency
Okay.
Act.
Thank you, Regina.
You're welcome.
Donald,
Who is
right
that?
over here.
Wait, let me get this fellow in the back, Ken, and you'll be next. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my name's Lee. The Synergy Club has created 2 videos, and we've also copied the SBA video that the young lady down there just mentioned.
Right.
We have both of
Lee,
those videos on our site, and we also have the ability to. We've done workshops.
Lee, with the
We've done
president,
workshops
Lee, with the
on
president's permission, I am going to shut you down. What you're doing?
You don't have to shut me down because we're just assisting people do the
I
training class.
understand, Lee, but we're not going to
numbers of
allow you
people.
to. We're not going to allow you to do something that the officers, as a group, have considered to be unadvisable. Very sorry about that, sir. Hi, Ken. How are you?
Hey, Donald.
Yes, sir.
You want to cut people off because they don't agree with you.
Go ahead, Ken.
Everybody has a
Yeah,
right
Donald,
to
what's
say
the
what
progress
they
on
think.
that digital sign?
Trying to keep-
Digital sign. Lawrence, can you handle this, please? Thank you. Sorry, guys. We want the best for you, and we want. So, again, it's your decision, but we can give you the best advice we can. All right. Ken, your question was, what is the progress on the LED message signs? And the answer is, we're about to get our permits. I believe we have one more approval from the zoning department, and work should happen this coming month. Does that answer your question, Ken? Yes. Thank you. And I'm sorry for that little kerfuffle up there.
Come to the microphone, please. Legal counsel said we're not to get involved.
And we're not to
Good morning.
Hey, who
Hey.
is that, Rhoda?
It's Rhoda.
Hi, Rhoda.
Hi. I'm just wondering, how come that pod is still sitting, that association opposite Kent Pool, I believe?
All right, you're talking about Northampton R. That's Auger's old building who just walked out. There is a unit owner there who is selling her apartment, and she's, I guess, slowly packing everything out. Excuse me, packing everything out. I put two complaints into code enforcement.
Yeah.
And I have contacted their management and their board on this. It's annoying me too, Rhoda, because I pass it every day, drinking my coffee. Just for everyone's understanding, these storage pods are technically a county code violation if they're there more than 24 hours on the public right-of-way, which every street in Century Village is. As a rule, I don't make the complaints unless they're aggravating me or I think they're causing a safety concern, like a sight line to make right turns or wrong or left turns. I will keep up with that, but eventually it'll go because she's moving. She's selling her unit.
Yeah, however, I think it's been there for several months.
Oh, it's been months. Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't live in a mansion. How long can it take to pack it
I don't know.
up?
For all I know, she could be sleeping in the pod. But
Yeah,
I had two requests today about what's the story with the pods, and I basically just repeated what I just told you.
Thank you.
But we're aware of it. Thank you. Bruce, how are you?
Fantastic.
hear
Wellington
it.
A. Listen, this residence, buildings that are supposed to be put in near the entrance by UCO.
Say it again.
The housing that's supposed to be constructed near.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have a representative from the county here who could give us more specific information, but I'll give you the short story. There is a vacant county-owned parcel in back of UCO, between, let's say, UCO and Truist Bank. It has been designated for development. It will be auctioned. There are some requirements to whoever chooses to develop that property. We here at UCO have had discussions with one particular developer who's interested in senior rental housing. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got. Neil's here, and he can probably give us more on this. But yes.
One of my concerns is that a traffic study be done because I believe that our entrance.
100%, that's part of the deal.
Our entrance road is maxed at this point.
That was, like Joanne said, that's the very first thing we looked at. There's going to be a lot of traffic. And yes, a traffic study is 100% part of the process.
Fantastic. You're doing the job. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Mr. Stutzman. Hi, Niels, go for it.
Yeah, I don't know that I have much to add. We had a meeting here, a town hall style meeting a couple of months ago here to discuss the proposal to build housing on that 6.37 acre parcel out there. Traffic is certainly a concern. That's what we heard here at the meeting. That's also a concern for Commissioner Weiss, because already West Drive getting onto Okeechobee is a problem, and if we add more traffic to it, it's going to exacerbate the problem. So certainly on our radar. It's still a few months out, I think, from RFP, so nothing's happening yet, but I'll keep you apprised.
Thanks, Niels. Hi, Lynn.
Correct me if I'm wrong. According to our UCO's bylaws,
Yuko's bylaws.
pass,
Motion to be passed.
it has to be a majority of the present delegates voting.
INC.
According to the sign, when we voted for the sign,
I think I know what you're talking about, yes?
delegates.
Mm-hmm.
So for that sign to have been passed, 61 people would have had to vote.
All right, so Lynn, that's something that's way out of my pay grade. That's an advisory question, and I would suggest you bring it to the advisory. So then there's a regular advisory committee meeting that deals with things involving the bylaws.
It's already in progress. We're questioning everything.
The question is, Lynn has some issues with how the voting took place on the LED message signs. And I'm frankly not conversant enough to be able to address the question, but it does belong in our advisory committee, which has a chair and regular meetings. And Lynn's already asked me this question offline. She's asking me now in front of everyone, so I'll tell you. I really don't know the answer to that question. It's probably legal, and probably, it definitely belongs in the advisory committee. So I would suggest you bring it there. Yes, it was a fairly close vote, so I think that's where Lynn's question is coming from. So, like I said, this is kind of a arcane bylaw thing that, frankly, I wouldn't touch without the committee looking at it. That's or any of us. That's what we have the committees for.
Okay,
So you're
Donald.
welcome to attend the next.
Donald, if I may.
Here's the chair of the advisory committee.
I'm Mary Jane Gordon.
She showed up.
It's an E. I'm the chair of the advisory committee. It is an issue that has come up at the last meeting. Right now, there's a question about interpretation of the wording of that particular article. The advisory committee is not meeting this month simply because too many of our members are out of town at the moment. We may or may not meet in September. Again, it depends on whether or not we have at least 60% of the committee there.
Okay.
I expect that we definitely will meet in October, and that this question will come up, and we will have to discuss whether or not there has to be a change to the wording so that the article is more precise. But at this point, that doesn't change anything about the LED boards, and it really will just apply to any question that comes up in the future.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Oh,
Maria
hi.
Reno, Cambridge G. I have a question. It's probably not a smart question, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Go ahead. Hit it.
$150, is that for each condo or for the association?
It would be for, the $150 charge is for the association to do their initial filing for this new filing called the Corporate Transparency Act. What's making this a little sketchy is that we're hearing that you have to make a filing every time there's a change on the board. Now, that might change because there are groups going to court to challenge this law as it applies to condominiums. It's happening in Alabama, and I just learned that the CAM Association, the one I belong to, is challenging it as a lobbying group. So we may see changes in this law or its interpretation of it moving forward, but as of now, we're being advised to do the filing.
Understood.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hiya, John.
With the filing, yeah, it's $150 initially for the association.
I'll repeat it. It's okay. Go ahead, Mike. You know what? Nobody can hear you. Let's. All right, Mike. John said, never mind. All right, guys. Thank you.
Okay. To be continued. Joanne, Treasurer's Report.
Good morning, everybody.
Hold on a second. Do we have, how many people do we have?
116.
We have 116 delegates in the room. So we're one shy of conducting business, but the meeting will continue.
Okay, thank you. It is good to see all 116 of you. Thank you for indulging me with the honor flight. That was one of those items that the minute I started reviewing things, I said, we've got to do something about this. So I'm glad we did. And keep an eye on Channel 590. I am going to be putting up some information about the honor flight, and I really think it's something that our village, we just need to find some people to start sponsoring some fundraising events and things, because I know that there's a lot of support for that activity among our community. I know we've got a lot of vets in the community. So that being said, I was very happy with the turnout we had for our first town hall meeting for our budget. A lot of information sort of came up, and we talked about a lot of things. We then, this month's, as a result of that, this month's Finance Committee meeting, which you can see if you go onto the website to the blog post pages. I've posted that video. The Finance Committee meeting last week was very spirited. It went on for almost 2 hours, and we dug in again. So on August 21st, we're going to have the real meat and potatoes part of the budget where we will be presenting what we found, what we've got, and where we think we should be going next year. And we really want to, fine tune things so that in September, our next meeting, I can give you that preliminary budget, and then we vote on it in October. So and I've included the financials as of the end of June. And right now, we're doing very well. We have a lot to talk about at the budget meeting. But anyone has any questions, I'm usually at UCO during most office hours. Please stop by, send an email via the blog if you wish. But otherwise, unless anyone has any questions, that's it for me for this month. Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
When I looked at the...
I can't hear. Can you speak into the mic?
Sure. When I looked at the budget papers in here, I came up with a million questions, and I'm not an accounting kind of person. Should I save my questions for August 21st?
You can do that, or if you want to stop by the office, I'd be glad to sit down with you and go through with it. That's really the best way. And then bring in anything that you want up at August 21st.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to hear from Ruth.
You woke me up. Okay, I can manage. Where do I begin? I'll begin by telling you that the reporter is ahead for the second quarter, $6,400. We get ads, we lose ads, but we're doing okay. I want to bring something up to you that was a little bit disturbing, but I think we may have found a solution. I have had complaints from, not many, but the ones that I've had are disturbing, that I don't honor all holidays from all cultures and all nationalities. I honor the American holidays. We have six legal holidays. They are Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, and Labor Day. And I think I will add, as a result of the young lady's talk today, I'm going to add Veterans Day to that, which is very important. A colleague of mine came up with an excellent solution. That is to publish in the paper, since we have so many nationalities, cultures, and such, if you want to have your holiday recognized, write an article about it, research it, let the community know what it's all about, submit it to the UCO reporter for consideration, and it will be published in the appropriate month. I think that will cover everything, and I hope it satisfies all. As for holidays, let me say Happy Labor Day. That's coming up next. And I'll ask Joanne as well to publish this notice on the blog. So it will be in the paper and the blog. If you'd like to write your article in the meantime, please do. Send it to ucoreporterwpb@gmail.com. That's it. See you next month.
Thank you, Ruth. We'll hear from David Boaz.
Good morning, all 116 delegates. Thank you for showing up, and a special thank you to my good friend Tilly Bradford, who showed up today, as she does most delegate assemblies. Thank you, Tilly. Always nice to see you. Not much from this desk except thank all my fellow officers and all the volunteers that we have here at Century Village. Nothing would be accomplished without their hard work and service. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Kelly, our recording secretary.
Thank you, Fausto. First, I wanted to say thank you to everyone that gave me well wishes for my COVID. I greatly appreciate that. I came down with it about 2 weeks ago, and I'm fully recovered, but thank you to all that. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is that 5 days after I won the recording secretary election, Fausto swore under oath, an unlicensed practice of law complaint, a felony, with a Florida bar naming me and the Board Synergy Club as defendants. In this complaint, he stated that I was giving legal advice and performance of legal services to the residents of Century Village. He said I'm giving deceptive legal advice to members of UCO, which is false and adverse to their interests. And he also said that my activities hold out to the public or otherwise represent that I am admitted to practice law in Florida in violation of Florida Bar Rule 4-5.5, Section 2. So 2 days ago, I sent a response to the Florida Bar denying these claims and counterclaiming that Fausto knowingly swore and filed a false complaint with the Florida Bar, which is also a felony. So these are serious charges, felonies. The UCO bylaws describe the process for investigation and removal of the office of officers. The first step is gathering 100 signatures on a petition. As was brought up, Fausto is also not following the UCO bylaws when filling executive board positions. I think this also needs to be investigated. So after this meeting, in meeting room C, there are petitions that all the delegates can sign, calling for an inquiry for both Fausto and myself, because we're both charged with a very serious crimes or whatever. So please stop by after the meeting and sign one or both of the petitions. And if you'd like copies of the complaint or my response, I'm happy to share them with anybody who asks. That's all I had. Thank you.
Patricia. Wow, that blew me away. I wasn't aware of all this. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see you. I was speaking to someone outside for a while about the supplies for hurricane, and I happened to mention what I do, which she didn't think about. People always say, I don't have enough water, I never have enough water. When I know there's a hurricane coming, I start cooking and baking, and I start filling up pots of water all over the house. Some for brushing your teeth, washing your face, some for the toilet, etc. So I'm going to pass it on, since people don't think about it. When you hear that there's a possible hurricane, you don't have to run out and buy 1,000 bottles of water. Just fill up all the pots you have. You know, my tub will not hold water, so I put them in the tub or wherever, all around. Excuse me. I check my portable fans to make sure that I have plenty of batteries and the fans are working, because I thought I was so prepared with the last hurricane. I had all this food, I had everything prepared, and then the air conditioner went off, and I forgot. So I now have several fans, and of course I always had lanterns and stuff. So I wanted to pass that along, because I know that you all know you get some water, you get canned food, but make sure you have plenty of water. And I agree with hydration. As you can see, everyone tells me I drink too much water. I drink about 80 ounces a day. But I rather drink more than less and feel faint, like I've seen some of my friends do. Okay, enough of that. Again, I reiterate, someone was telling me outside how this woman took a video of people passing bus stops. I assure you, if you put it in writing, it will get sent out that same day to the bus company. I can't show them a video. I can't tell them verbally, because it'll go to the wind. You will get an answer. They will work on the problems if you put it in writing. Leave it here. They bring it to the office. Bring it to the office and give it to anyone. I will get it, and it will go out the same day. So please don't stop me to tell me what you saw or what didn't happen. I can't help you unless it's in writing. And I will definitely fight for you. As a matter of fact, I really did struggle a lot to get certain stops to certain places, but I can't do that anymore, because we overextended and would constitute a new contract, which means a lot more money. So I hope that most of you are satisfied. I myself ride the bus. There are some issues. I have presented it in writing, and they are being taken care of. As a matter of fact, one bus driver was suspended recently. So they do respond. Thank you so much for cooperating, and have a beautiful and blessed day. Bye-bye.
Stewart.
In the UCO office and all the vice president's office, we have a little sign up that says we're not lawyers and we will not give legal advice. When people come into the office and ask questions that are iffy, and we feel that it requires a higher level of input, we suggest that they contact their lawyer. Otherwise, we try to provide them a good direction to resolve their problems. Here in the Delegate Assembly, if you have an issue and you're dissatisfied with the answer, okay, you live with it. But to get up and walk out because you're not happy with it, I think that really is something that I find distasteful. And this is what we had a little while ago. Another thing that I would like to discuss is I brought up to the UCO to put together the money and investigate the LED light signs around the village, because with all of the methods that we have to communicate things to the residents of Century Village, we find that it's not enough. And that people are constantly coming in with questions that were easily answered by what was in the newspaper, what's on the television, and other forms of communication, especially when you go to the president's meeting with the officers of buildings. So this is why we decided to do that, and it's just another form of communication to the people in the village, and I think it's for the cost, which is minimal, and the advantage, which is really great. We should have something like that. Another thing is I was putting on a barcode for a resident, and he was shaking his head, and I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "I just got a $116 ticket by the police because I was not wearing my seatbelt." So this is a word to the wise. The police are out there. How they saw he didn't have his seatbelt on, I do not know, but he's going to pay $116. So please make sure that you deal with that. The other thing is that the Beautification Committee is on hiatus because of the season, the hurricane season, and also the beginning of the construction over in Reflection Bay. And we were afraid that if we would spend money putting hedges up and fences and everything else, it could be damaged by the construction. And so we're waiting until most of that is done, and then we will call the Beautification Committee together and start with what we usually do with our plans to beautify the Century Village. And that's it.
Thank you. Dominic.
Good morning. We're midway between the hurricane season. A few things that I'd like to talk. Water and electricity are very important. One thing you can do, if we know it's an impending hurricane, you have a choice of either to run and try to get away, which becomes difficult because the highways will be utilized only going north. You can't go south, so you're going to have to get in a queue going to somewhere you don't know where you're going to stop. This is what you should have in your apartment. You should have enough water for your pet, flush your toilet, boil an egg, and so forth. What you would do is put the plug in, put up water to an elevation of about 10 inches. Now, it's right the tub is next to the toilet. You have a bucket. You can flush when there's no water coming in from the municipality. And there are a few other things you can do, but your bath is big enough to handle it for probably 4 or 5 days. Another thing is you got to decide now whether you want to run or you want to stay, and that's going to affect where you're going to get your pharmaceuticals. You should go to the pharmacy, make sure that you have sufficient plus so that you don't run out and have a heart attack because you didn't have the pill. But what have I got left? The highways are going to be one way. You can't go south, you're going to have to go north. And where you go north, you don't know where a filling station is. If you have an electric car, you have to have a map for where you can refill. If you want to stay in a motel, they're full. You're going to sleep in your car. So for my point, I'm going to be around. This is where to stay. Stay firm in your apartment, and hopefully the wind is going to be less than it's supposed to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. There are some flyers in your package. Make sure you read them. Upcoming information. Do we have any unfinished business?
Dominic wants that.
Go ahead, Dominic.
When the wind reads 40 miles per hour, you cannot call for rescue. The trucks can't go out and take the chance of getting overturned by a strong wind. So you have to make a decision before it gets too bad to manipulate it. Thank you.
All right. Do we have any unfinished business? Sure, come up to the microphone.
John, we really can't hear you. Jump up to the mic.
He's got a case.
All right. Yeah, John, really, no one could hear you, but I can repeat I can hear you, so I can repeat. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm aware.
Thank you. When you had the certification course, the new certification course a couple of months ago, I was in attendance, and one of the things that were brought up was the common areas of the condo. You talked about the lanai not being part of the condo. It's I don't know the expression you used, a partial part or whatever. And the common areas around the building, okay, that you couldn't have anybody put blocks or chairs or patio out in the back or anything in back of the building.
Okay.
As a result of that, Don, I'm concerned, okay, with does the insurance, if something is done and it's in back of the building and it's illegal, does the insurance that we have on the building cover that?
John, the short answer to the end of your question is I couldn't possibly tell you that. That would be an insurance question.
But doesn't UCO insure? Don't we go through UCO with many of the things?
UCO provides a insurance program for most of the associations of Century Village. They have an insurance carrier, and that will be a question for the carrier. So to your before that question of what is limited, common, or unit, there are three components to any association, condominium. One is the unit.
Right.
One is the common areas, the lawn, for instance. And the other would be limited common element, which is space that is owned by the association, but the unit owner has the exclusive use of it. Those are the three.
That's the lanai.
So any questions about Lanai, in many cases, is limited common element. So
Right.
any questions about that really should go to your board and to your manager. Because again, there are a lot of ifs and whens and buts, and you want your specific question to be answered. All right?
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Fred from Chatham F. We have a resident who is Alzheimer's, and she's lost it. She needs someone all the time, and we have done everything as a association to try and contact people, her family. Nobody seems to be taking an interest, and we can't do everything for this woman. We do what we can. What can we do to
Hey, Mr.
get
Palumbo,
her
yeah,
in a home or something?
This is a very common thing, obviously, in Century Village. Not only as board members do we have to take care of a property, but sometimes we got to be social workers. And if you see that the problem's getting out of hand and the person's a danger to themselves or to others, there is a mechanism that we can use. If you stop by my office, I'll help you with making a report to the Florida Department of Children and Families, Elder Affairs, and you could send in the report as a possibly vulnerable adult. And I could help you with that. And unfortunately, it happens more than I'd like to.
Thank
All
you.
right, just stop by the office. Happy to help.
Thank you.
Yes.
I noticed that in the last holiday season, as I'm driving around, a lot of the condo or, the gated communities and stuff have lights outside on their palm trees or, make things look festive. And I want to know, I'd like to talk about having lights put up at least at the holiday times, because when I'm driving around and I'm seeing all the prettiness, the beautification of other places, and then I come home and it looks dismal.
Okay, I'll grab this one. We do get this, it's a complaint that we maybe don't put enough as well as far as holiday lighting. Obviously, cost is a concern. We're all dealing with, in our associations and in our own units, with things like insurance that are going through the roof. So we do take that into consideration, and it's a committee and an officers committee decision. Last year, the decision was to light up the 2 guardhouses, and we were able to do that at very little cost through our janitorial contractor, and we will probably do the same again. If you want to bring a suggestion to have more lighting, this can be done. There's a price. This would happen through the Bids and Infrastructure Committee, because this would be infrastructure. And it goes from there. Everything here is run through committees. But I could tell you that why you haven't seen more is money, frankly. All right?
I heard Fausto say, I don't know, quite a while ago,
Yeah.
somebody had mentioned it, and his response was, "It's been decided we're not doing it." So it's
Right, and when
it's been decided.
And when
in
Fausto
Central.
says that, it's not Fausto that decided, it's a number of committees that decided. We all do things, as committee on top of committee. We make group decisions, and that includes you. So you're welcome to attend that. That's the committee where a suggestion like that would go. You're welcome to attend. But I could tell you as a manager, what really made that decision, that group decision, is finances, money. Okay?
And wouldn't that be part of beautification?
I could take that argument, sure. Yeah, sure. But at the
And
moment,
yet it
that committee's not meeting, so I
Yeah,
would
you
say
can't even have a
you have to
meeting.
bring it somewhere. And listen, you could bring it to the officers committee as well. All right?
The last time that we had the palm trees lit up, the sprinkler system was shorting out the lights, and we spent more time answering phone calls that the lights were not working.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of like took a foot back, because one, the vendor stopped coming and stopped replacing the lights that were being shorted. That's why we decided to do the guardhouses for the moment. We're hoping that the LED signs will help to alleviate that. And if we can come up with a good plan where some of the money that's needed, we're talking thousands of dollars to wrap those trees up for the holidays.
Well, Fausto, I would estimate you're looking at about a $10,000 expense.
Yes, I see.
And it just occurred to me that this can also be brought to the Finance Committee, whether you want to put a budget line into the budget. So that's another place for you to bring it. All right?
Okay.
Hi.
Marissa?
Fausto?
Hold on.
I just have a potential solution. In my parents' neighborhood, they have amazing lights, and it's because everyone from every household contributes one set of lights, or they'll buy something each individually, they'll contribute it, and then they all work together to decorate the whole neighborhood, and it looks beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Dominic?
Yes, I forgot. Last month I passed out some items not required as permitted. I have here the planning, zoning, building department who have issued items not requiring permit. They all went away. We have no more. I have probably 40 here if you want to take one home and as an officer of one of the buildings. And it satisfies telling them what they cannot do as opposed to what they can do. So you're welcome to come up and get one after the meeting closes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fausto, I have just one more item.
Yes, Stuart?
2 days ago, there were 7 police cars racing with their lights on about 3:30 in the afternoon, heading past where I lived, going towards they wound up at the clubhouse. Somebody had fainted in the pool and was lucky enough that there were other people in the pool to help them out of it. So a lesson to be learned from this is if you're going to the pool, please don't go in the pool alone. Of course, if you are, it'll probably, if something happens to you, we'll have to say goodbye.
Okay.
John, we got somebody in front of you.
You're next, my friend.
No, I was just going to say, so in my community, I've built a lot of good relationships, and I might be able to help you guys with that for free. I'll talk to you about it after this.
Thank you.
We do Christmas lights every year, and I think we can work it out.
Okay. All right. Okay. He's got a cane, he can barely walk.
Don, in the recent UCO paper, you wrote another article, or part of the article, was concerning passing people that are required in the board, or let me read the part to you. Okay.
John, I'm gonna hold you up there. Clearly, you have an issue with your board.
No, I don't. Listen,
Your questions
Don,
are very specific,
Don,
and I'm gonna.
It has nothing to do with the board. This is you people, for example. If we send you an applicant and you deny the applicant, or you approve the applicant and then we deny it, you're telling us that the company won't cover the insurance.
All right, that's a good question. I'm sorry about that. That's a good question. All right. Number one, UCO does not approve or deny anyone. We procure a screening report for you, your board, and if your board requests it, a legal opinion. We make no decisions per our bylaws and per the contracts that we have with each association. Yeah, well, never mind that for now, John. Let me continue, all right? The board can, if they ask for legal opinion from our attorney and they follow our attorney's advice and they find themselves getting sued, UCO will cover their deductible because their insurance will cover the rest. I've been here 10 years. There's been exactly 3 checks cut. One of them was the Fausto's Association. So it very rarely happens. Obviously, we're here to help. However, your board can elect to check with their own counsel. So it's a decision solely made by the board. Did that answer your question, John? Okay.
Okay. Is this under new business?
Oh, yes, new, yes.
Hi, Judy Blow. In the last UCO paper, there was an ad advertising going to Hard Rock Casino. I called for it, and what I have discovered is that a misprint was there. They have the trip leaving from Pembroke Pine.
Yeah.
The trip for Century Village right here is Wednesday at 9 o'clock, not Tuesday.
It hasn't been approved yet.
It has not? Then why are they taking reservations?
No. That ad was a bad ad. It was for Pembroke Pines. I brought it to the attention of the ad department. The ad department got in touch with the advertiser, and he said, leave that ad in. It's ridiculous. I agree with you. Next month, there will be a new ad that pertains to Century Village in West Palm Beach. We were told at a committee meeting the other day that the bus ride is $35 and $20. We were told at a committee meeting $35. When the ad comes out, you will know how much it is, and $20 free play. Sorry for the confusion, but I was confused too.
My question still stands. Is there going to be a trip this Wednesday at 9 o'clock?
I don't know.
Because that's what they're telling people.
I don't know. Until you hear it from us in some fashion, I wouldn't go with that. I don't know whether the bus is coming in or it isn't. There is more conversation to be had with the CEO of WP Ascenville, Eva, I'm talking about. So I can't give you any definite information on that. But in time, I think you'll see the bus in here.
All right, thank you.
That bus trip was just brought to the Operations Committee on Tuesday. And it was being forwarded. I believe that Eva was waiting for approval from her legal department to make sure. She may have gotten approval, yes or no, but that's all that I could tell you. Okay. Once it's done and we have legitimate, it will be posted on our website and on our channels. Okay. Do we have any unfinished business? Any unfinished business? Okay. Niels, you're up.
Good morning, everybody. So Greg is not here today. He's at the canvassing board. He serves as one of the canvassing board members, but obviously he thinks it's important that we be here, so I'm here to answer questions and tell you a little bit about what's going on. A couple things came up. So the hurricane season, we are in the middle of hurricane season. One of the things that we promote in our newsletter that a lot of you subscribe to is the county's hurricane guide, which is also, it's a very useful a document with checklists and important information about shelters and what to do in what situation. I'll share it with Donald, so maybe it can go up on the blog that you guys can take a look at it. 2 is unpermitted construction. I know it's an issue, it's an ongoing issue here in Century Village, been going on for years. We've done several things, bringing out planning, zoning, and building here to tell you about the importance of working with licensed contractors, making sure you pull a permit. Whatever it is, if you're concerned, if it's your own project or someone in your building and you have questions, you're always free to contact me, 561-355-2202. I can see if it requires a permit, I can see if someone pulled a permit and all kinds of information. So, you can work with Donald or you can call me. Donald and I talk to each other all the time, so between the two of us, just contact us if you're not sure and we'll be happy to help. Few loose ends from the last meeting, and thank you for Dr. Handelsman for keeping me on my toes on this. A lot of time we've talked about the raised median on Haverhill. I you know, last time I said I would check on the timeline because initially they told me that it would start in June, and obviously it hasn't started in June. So what they're telling me now, our engineers are saying that by the end of the year it should go out to bid, and in the beginning of 2025 they should start building that raised median. Another thing in conjunction with that, people asked, okay, then once we have a raised median, what's going to happen with people making U-turns? Obviously, people are allowed to make a U-turn at the light, but again, Dr. Handelsman asked the question, we're going to make sure that there's appropriate signage that tells people who has the right of way. So right turns, so people making U-turns will have to yield to people making right turns coming out of Century Village going south. The other thing is the bus stop. There is a bus shelter along Haverhill Road for the Palm Tran. That project has been delayed, but we know that it will start in the first quarter of 2025. So then there should be a bus shelter on Haverhill Road for you all, so you don't have to sit in the sun. That's all I got. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Yes, ma'am. So, yeah, there is one. We dealt with that. That was an ongoing thing, and my understanding is that first we got the adequate striping, and now next, I think, but I need to check on my way out, my understanding is that we did put a dedicated left light onto that mast arm there. So as far as I know, that problem should be taken care of. If it's not, I'll follow up. Yes, ma'am. 561-355-2202. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Amy from Ann Gannon's office.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amy Ebersbach from Constitutional Tax Collector Ann Gannon's office. I just want to remind everyone, you know, it's the first of the month, and we may have people with birthdays this month, and you have to renew your vehicle registration. You may not want to come into the office. Make sure you visit one. The Publix at the Village Commons has our handy kiosk there. You can do your vehicle registration. You will have that done in less than 5 minutes. Highly recommend it. Saves you a trip to the office if you do not want to do it online. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Larissa, you're up.
Hello, everyone. I am your Port Commissioner, Varissa Das. I'm the Port Commissioner for District 2 at the Port of Palm Beach. And I'm currently endorsed. I have my election on August 20th. I'm endorsed by the Palm Beach Post, County Fire Rescue, West Palm Fire Rescue, Palm Beach Gardens Fire Rescue, the Fraternal Order of Police, Economic Council, BizPac, and ABC Builders. Now, one of the reasons that the Palm Beach Post endorsed me, and they wrote about this in the article, you can Google it, is because they determined that I was the most qualified. They also determined that I had the most realistic ideas about what can and cannot be accomplished at the port. And that's very important, especially given the limited amount of space that we're dealing with. Now, there are ways to maximize and increase the amount of efficiency and productivity we can get out of that space. And I am fully on board with some of our plans to do that, such as making infrastructure improvements so that we can stack our containers vertically. Now, the thing that probably interests you all most is my future vision for the port, which is making it more of a cruise port. And anyone that tells you that that cannot be done is not telling you the truth. And in part, they're probably kind of the reason that it hasn't been done. We have 29 feet our dredging is 29 feet. So we can accommodate ships that are 855 feet or lower. Now, a lot of those luxury vessels, like Holland America, Silver Seas, they're about 600 feet. So they can fit very nicely into our port. And our executive director is on board with me in terms of making that happen. He's already recruited one of those luxury ships. I can't tell you which one, but they're coming in 2026. I'm gonna let them wait to announce that. Additionally, he actually just met with a Carnival ship in Jacksonville. That ship is in a 2-year lease, but after that, they're open. And there is the potential to do this over time and gradually recruit more cruise ships. There are some additional things that, in terms of infrastructure, that we will need to do on our end. That's why it's so important that we use the current net profit that we have. We're operating at a historic profit gain, but it's important that we use that for development projects at the port. And under my leadership and the leadership of our executive director as well, we just had our most profitable year in history. We made $3 million last year. For decades, it was only $1 million a year. And this year, currently, we're at $5 million. So we're doing extremely well. And this matters because we don't charge you any taxes. We pay for ourselves so that you don't have to. But that requires that we have commissioners like me that understand our economic models and how to generate revenue from those models. A little background about me. I don't want to go too long. I'm a partner at a law firm. Oh, I'm sorry.
We give them 3 minutes and she's on the clock. David is taking it.
We have a timer.
I'm a partner at a law firm. I'm on the Planning Commission, the West Palm Beach Downtown Development Authority, and the Business Development Board. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
They're in the room. What's the difference? Okay. Okay. All right. Could I have Daniel Eisinger come up?
Hey, there he is.
Good morning, folks. I'm Dan Eisinger, and as a lot of you have got to know me over the last 10 months or so, I'm the Chief Assistant at the Public Defender's Office here. So I've been the Chief Assistant for about 6 years, at the Public Defender's Office for 20 years, and in Carrie Howitt's leadership team for the last 13 years. So Carrie's been your elected public defender for 25 years. Rarely has she drawn any opponents, and that's why you don't see her on the ballot very often. But she's endorsed me to succeed her, and we're sort of essentially running this campaign together. I'll tell you this, the election is August 20th, so it's just around the corner. It's an open primary, which means any registered voter can vote in it, Democrat, Republican, or independent, non-party affiliated person. And so it's right around the corner. I wanted to really just take a second to thank you all for just speaking to me and being so open about my race and about who I am. I do want to also thank you for giving me some advice. So about 3 months ago, I was here, and we had a conversation, about 5 of us outside in the parking lot. And somebody asked, hey, do you think that crime is up for folks that are older, elderly folks? And to be honest, I didn't know the answer. So I went back to the office, got with the clerk's office, ran some data, and sure enough, we do have more folks over 65 that have been arrested for certain things, mostly low-level thefts. And it makes sense, right? As the economy goes sour, people get more desperate, and crime goes up. And unfortunately, that happens even to our elderly folks. So, because of that question, because of that data, we went ahead and trained one of our social workers to get more informed on what needs our older population has. So Jessica Toner, now that's what she does for us. She helps our older clients get the services they need. So thank you for improving our services at the Public Defender's Office. I'll just tell you, I was endorsed by the Palm Beach Post, the Sun Sentinel, of course, Carrie Howitt, the elected public defender, Dorothy Jacks, our wonderful, wonderful property appraiser, and Ann Gannon, our tax collector, and of course, many, many, many more. And I'm so thankful for their support and trust that I'm ready to lead this office into the next era. So I'm Dan Eisinger. You can look me up, daneisinger.com. Again, the election is August 20th, and I hope that I've earned your support, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Thank you all so very much.
Captain Jackson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Jackson, and I'm going to be real fast. I'm going to stay on it at 3 minutes. So I was born a Democrat. I was born in Palm Beach County, and I went off to the United States Marine Corps. I was a decorated Marine, and upon leaving the Marine Corps, I joined the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. I retired a captain there. I had the most amount of deputies working for me. In fact, I worked alongside the guys that was here earlier. And I also had the largest budget at the Sheriff's Office for a captain. Currently, I am the Housing Authority President of Riviera Beach. I have 4 different deals going currently right now. My team and I have been very aggressive in solving Palm Beach County's problem of affordable housing. Commissioner Weiss will tell you, because the Palm Beach County Commission gave me $13 million about 3 weeks ago to do my next project. I developed Heron Estates, a $46 million project. The job of Housing Authority Presidents is to raise money for affordable housing, and we're doing just that. I am running for the Port of Palm Beach. Thank you. But more importantly, I want to do things, the port has issues. I want to do things that will affect you. People over 70 years old, I believe we could raise the money to have you take at least one free trip, that first free trip, for free. I've demonstrated that I could do that sort of thing. I've done Toys for Tots every year. I've done the guys, Captain Killingsworth that was just left from up here, he and I have been raising $150,000 every year for 20 years for students for college. So certainly I can help the people at Century Village, and we will. Win or lose, I will affect positive change for Century Village. I'll stay engaged with you guys, and you'll see. We'll do a lot of things. And I want to be helpful to the community, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the people that has endorsed myself. The PBA, the Human Rights Council, the CTA teachers, and the people that work for my opponent, the AFL-CIO, those employees that work at the port, they have endorsed me, and I think that's telling. Everyone that we have sat down before has endorsed me, with the exception of the firefighters. And so I want to tell you that I have a host of other elected officials that endorse me, a bunch of mayors, a bunch of commissioners, and several port officials, both past and present. And there's a reason that they did it. Under my leadership, and you won't hear me sit here and tell you that I've done anything by myself, but I will tell you this. Those boards that I've served on, like the Housing Authority, I'm the chair. We're the #1 housing authority in this country. We got that award. At the Sheriff's Office, I got a number of awards for having the best substance abuse treatment center, and that was the Sheriff's Office Drug Farm. And I'm very proud of all of that, and I'm going to be proud to serve you and to help you in any way I can. God bless.
Thank you. Alex Friedman is running for sheriff.
Mr. Chair and members of the board, and you all, thank you for this opportunity once again to speak before you. I am Chief Alex Freeman, running for Palm Beach County Sheriff. And what makes me uniquely different than the current sheriff and the other candidates that are in this race? Crime is a huge concern here in Palm Beach County. And how do we reduce crime here in Palm Beach County? Whereas your next sheriff, we're going to work with apprenticeship programs and educational programs that are willing to come into the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office to train those men and women in the trade, or to enhance a skill or a trade that they already have. We're going to work with employers that are willing to come into the Sheriff's Office to hold job fairs in the Sheriff's Office, so that when those men and women transition back in our communities, they are gainfully employed. Many of them are going to be on probation, and if they don't have a job to attend to meet that financial obligation, they're going to reoffend. So the goal is to change lives, change mindsets, keep families together, and so that you and I and no one else will be a victim of their behavior, because the goal is to have them on the right track. You as citizens, we pay $150 a day to house one inmate in the county jail, left to his or her devices to play dominoes and cards and lift weights, and there's nothing productive about that. When you look at the words Department of Correction and Rehabilitation, the most fitting words is Department of Incarceration and No Rehabilitation. But under my administration, you're going to see, without a doubt, a reduction in crime here in Palm Beach County and working with several agencies in Palm Beach County to get to that number. I am the candidate that has made a campaign commitment to this community that once I'm the sheriff, we're going to place a substation right here within my first 100 days in office. That is a promise without fail. And I want to, as I close, I want to say to you all who have called me prior to this day and who have said to me on this day that you've already cast your vote for me. Thank you so very, very much.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Please. You'll be next.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Greg Lerman. I'm running for state attorney. I've been here a number of times over the last, I think, 14 months since I've been running. Look, Dave Arenberg said a few months ago that the reason he's not running for re-election is because there's need for a change and a new perspective in the office. And that's why the Sun Sentinel recently endorsed me, because they recognize that you don't get a new perspective by simply elevating one of two people within the office to head it. And that's why I'm running. Recently, one of the issues that has started to come up is anti-Semitism and how we deal with it and fight that and other hate crimes in Palm Beach County. I can tell you, as back 60 years ago when I was 4 years old and children were throwing rocks at me because I was Jewish, I was aware of anti-Semitism. When I was a teen and children were throwing pennies at me because I was Jewish, I was aware of anti-Semitism. 6 years ago, when my daughter had somebody leave a note in her book bag at Dwyer that said the Nazis were right and had a drawing of a gas chamber, I was aware of anti-Semitism. And during this campaign, when somebody scraped off the Jewish bumper stickers from the back of my car, I was aware of anti-Semitism. I am a member of the Jewish Community Relations Council subcommittee that deals with anti-Semitism for the Federation. My wife is the assistant to the CFO of the Federation. I am well aware of anti-Semitism and other hate crimes, which is why the Sun Sentinels endorsed me, why the Palm Beach Human Rights Council has endorsed me, and I will assure you that I will fight any type of hate crime that exists in this county, and they will be prosecuted. I ask for your support. Go to greglerman.com, and you can see what I stand for. Thank you.
Mr. Clark.
Ken Graff has a question.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, BreezeLine just sent a text message out that all their services are down and they won't be up until about 2 o'clock. That's phone, telephone, internet, and TV.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, yeah, that is correct. It looks like a large part of the village is down on BreezeLine for the moment. They're looking at 2:30 for a final repair.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Ohayo gozaimasu. That is good morning in Japanese. My name is Roderick Clark. It's still good morning. My name is Roderick Clark. I'm running for the Port of Palm Beach, Group 3. Versus run for 2. I'm running for 3. This is my 3rd time running. 3rd time's a charm. So I'm hoping to get your support like I did the last time. And the reason I got the support the last time, because you got to know me, the person, the veteran, the Marine veteran that I've served on a port all the way in Naha, Okinawa, Japan, that I've led troops in Iraq, that believes in leadership and I believe in accountability. And those are important. We need to change things all the way from the White House down to the local elections. I've talked to many of y'all, and the concerns that we have for November is the economy. The economy stinks right now, let's be honest. I used to manage several Walmarts, and when you can go into Walmart and pick up a can of beans that used to cost 25 cents, it's now $1. And you can do the math. Things are not getting better. We need to change the leadership. And it's not about being an R or D, it's about getting the right men and women into the positions that need to be there. Now, my concern, I'm running for the Port of Palm Beach. My opponent that I will see in November, she's been on the port for over 20 years. It's time for a change. It's time for someone with integrity that will balance the budget and have transparency and have the leadership that the port needs. It's time for a change. Vote Roderick Clark for the Port of Palm Beach. Clark for the Port of Palm Beach. I'll be in the back if you need to speak to me. It's time for the Marine to take over. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Board. Good morning, Century Village. My name is Adam Frankel. I am running for Palm Beach County Public Defender. I am a former Delray Beach City Commissioner where I served 12 years or 5 terms, and I am a former Assistant Public Defender in Palm Beach County. I'd like to tell you some of my top priorities. As my opponent thinks everything is status quo, should stay the same, I think we can do better. First, I think we need fully staffed satellite courthouses. Delray Beach, Gun Club out west, Palm Beach Gardens. When I was an assistant public defender, there were 3 of us at the Delray Courthouse. Currently, there's 1 if you're lucky. I think we need to have fully staffed satellite courthouses. In the United States, we have over 500 juvenile mental health courts for our youth. In Florida, we have 0. In Palm Beach County, we have 0. I believe we need them here in Palm Beach County, and I'd like to work with our next state attorney and law enforcement and our judiciary to get that established here. Many cases are resolved with community service. I have proposed allowing job training for community service, I think in lieu of picking up garbage on the beach or other manual labor. It has been successful in the city of Delray Beach when we've had a developer come in with the development. They had a job training where we had roofing, we had air conditioning, we had other trades, so our young people could get jobs out of it. And I believe community engagement is very important. We have someone from the tax collector's office, property appraiser's office. In our Sun Sentinel interview, my opponent said he didn't want to spend the resources for community engagement. If I'm successful on August 20th, I'll be a regular face at your meeting. I've been endorsed by the 2 police unions, FOP and PBA, in this race. I've been endorsed by Commissioner Mac Bernard. I've been endorsed by the president of the West Boca Community Council, the former president of COBRA, which is the coalition of the Boynton Beach HOAs, as well as the Delray Alliance, the president of the Delray Alliance. I've also been endorsed by our state attorney, David Ehrenberg, and Joseph Abruzzo, our clerk of court. In my view, the 2 most important endorsements in the race, those are the 2 constitutional officers that work closely with the public defender's office. So I appreciate your time this morning. If you're voting early, or you're voting by mail, or you're voting on August 20th, please consider voting Frankel. VoteFrankel.com is my website, and I thank you very much for having me.
Is there anyone else that I missed? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. What? Step up to the microphone.
Hi, I'm Luisa from Dorchester G. And I'd like to know if the president of the condominium can take me out as a delegate from the meetings. Because when I came last time to vote, I voted for someone that they didn't like. So that's why I understand that she took me out of the, as a delegate.
Hi, Luisa. I'm sorry to hear that. However, the selection of delegates who represents the association here at the UCO Delegate Assembly is strictly a board decision, not a particular unit of board members, but a board decision. They get to decide who the delegates are to represent them at this body.
So she can do whatever she wants. She can take me
Your
out.
board makes that decision, and that's something you need to take up with your board.
Okay, because
All
she
right.
didn't ask for a meeting to remove me from as a
I'm not
delegate.
aware that a board meeting would need to happen. This is an administrative decision made by your board. So you need to communicate directly with your board, okay?
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Louisa.
you.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yes, Flo.
Flora Simpson, Chatham U. I just want to thank everyone who came out to our potluck bingo. We have had 2, and they have been very successful. And we're going to have a 3rd one on the 28th of this month. And thank you, guys, and thank all the volunteers. It has really been a good, and for all the residents of Central Village. We had over 105 people last month. We had over 88 the month before. And I just want to say thank you. But I'm sorry, but there's no money exchange at this bingo. You have to take that up with FASCA.
All right. Everything else?
Yes, Richard? This is more for good and welfare of the community.
That's where we're at.
UCO has 17 committees, and many issues brought up here should be brought up in a committee first. Today, there were 2 issues of dispute about voting and about a person speaking that the officers did not want to speak. I would say come to the advisory committee meeting to get bylaws passed or not passed addressing these issues. Please come to the advisory committee meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard.
But Richard, though, you have to explain, the advisory committee does not vote on changing bylaws. That's done by this body.
We bring it up, and then
Right.
it goes to officers, then
Right.
executive, and so on and so forth. But we can start changing it there.
Okay, I'm just
Yeah, one
correcting
issue
your
I would
words.
like to see changed is simply the vote should be votes cast, not members present, because votes cast is never equal to members present. Everyone who does not vote is voting no. Thank you.
Okay, good of the order?
Yes. Hi, everybody. I just want to speak on a couple of subjects briefly, which are basically tied together. I keep hearing and watching UCO officers telling associations, sometimes 3, 4, or 5 meetings times during a meeting, that the 2 reasons they're forcing board members to obtain their certificates of approval at UCO or WPRF is reason number 1, because they did it before COVID and now they're returning to the practice after COVID. I can tell you as president for 16 years in my association, I've never been required to go anywhere to obtain a certificate of approval. So that's false on its face. Number 2, because associations who are self-managed are, quote, messing everything up and don't know what they're doing and are causing all kinds of problems, unquote. There are very few self-managed associations in the village, so I'll speak for myself. As president of a self-managed association for 15 years, of all the dozens of owners and tenants who have moved into my association, I've never had a single COA come back for any reason. My COAs have always been typewritten and professionally done. My proactive self-managed association's been way ahead of the curve, and we've been way ahead in efficiency and cost savings. We've had our own website since 2009, long before it was a requirement. We were way ahead of the curve in renovating the structure of our buildings long before Surfside collapsed, so I don't buy the self-management argument either. In fact, I think the real reason for the requirement is that UCO knows that others are now doing investigations, such as property management companies, realtors, and even individuals like myself. So forcing you board members to come to UCO, they can get you into their office so they can reinforce the idea that they should be doing your investigations. Now, I don't mind UCO doing investigations, not at all. However, you see, the problem is everyone else charges $25 or $30 to do the investigation. UCO takes your whole $150, spends about the same as everybody else for the investigation, and then puts the rest in their bank account. The rest of that money should go into the association's bank account, be used for repairing damages to move-ins and move-outs and that sort of thing. So as a not-for-profit organization, they're not allowed to make a profit. So they shouldn't be taking the whole $150, but just the amount that it takes to do the investigation of like $20, $30, $35. So just keep that in mind the next time you give them your $150 check. Remember, if anybody else does it for you, it'll cost you about $25. And by the way, UCO can't force you to have them do the investigation. You run your association, not UCO. If they're an advisory group, and whenever asked by owners why they exist, they always say the same thing. They exist to pay the 5 big contracts for our village common elements and very little else. So keep that in mind, board officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Since we're at the end, Fausto asked me to touch on a few of the things that Lee just brought up. The first is and thank you for staying, Lee. The first is the certificates of approval. Understand that these certificates of approval are actually created by WPRF, and they're distributed in cooperation with WPRF, right? And that has to do with our deeds and our contracts. The reason that we require you to come in, and we know it's a pain in the ass to have to come in and get a COA renewed and printed up, is to make sure that all of you board members know what's going on in your building. Time after time, we've had an individual board member, or sometimes not even a board member, create a COA, dummy it up, and then now you have an unauthorized resident in your building. We're here to protect your interests. We want to make sure you always know what's going on in your building. And that's the reason for that rule, and it was set up by our attorney many years ago. Second, on the issue of self-management, there is no law that says you can't self-manage. You can. Lee's building does it, and frankly, he does a good job at it. However, from our point of view, remember, I am a licensed manager, and my license is hooked up to this company, which is a licensed community association firm. We really can't advise you that it's a good idea to self-manage. That's a business decision that each association can make. But we wouldn't advise you on that. There's a lot of ins and outs to property management, and we feel that this is something best left to professionals. In many cases, Secret Services, Pruitt Property Management. There are others as well. Getting back to investigations, which is where my heart is, each of your associations has a contract with UCO, Lee's association as well, where you signed a contract that says that you will come to UCO for all applicant investigations. Now, Lee doesn't come to us for application. He does his own, or he has somebody do it for him. I'm not sure. That is a technical, in my opinion, breach of contract. UCO in the past has not enforced that, right? If that's what we want to go, pretty much that's what you're going to do. However, understand that UCO does a very extensive background check. It doesn't mean we do it ourselves. It means that we pay for more background check than most associations would do, or most management companies would do. We do things that others don't, because we're not in it for profit. Frankly, we're in it to give you a good piece of information that you can make a decision on, right? So as far as profit, we're not for profit. And Lee, and just so you know, I'm not going to go back and forth. So I'm just going to say what I got to say, and that's it.
I know. I just wanted to ask one
question. No,
when
one
you're
second.
done.
Well, hang
That's
on. So as far as do we profit from the $150 charge? The answer is no. Every year, Joanne or the previous treasurer does a report, and it's essentially a wash. We kick out just about the same amount of money than we do that we take in. And that's because we're buying more reports for you, right? We also do legal opinions. We give you attorney opinions, and that comes out of the $150. So it's basically a wash. We do an international investigation, especially now. We have people coming from everywhere: Israel, Iraq, Iran, Haiti, you name it. We do that. Almost every management company that I'm aware of does basically to when you came in the country. They don't do the international. And we think that that's important to protect your interests. That's about it, except that, no, that's it. That's all I got for investigations. I hope you think we're doing a good job for you, because
Just one quick
we're
question.
really trying. Wait, there's a lady
Donald.
right here, Billy.
Just one quick question.
That's correct. We use an agent for that. Yeah. Right. And you just made me think of the thing I couldn't think of, but remember that another issue is whenever you're doing applicant screening, you're dealing with the Federal Fair Credit Reporting Act. And look at her nod. This is a tricky thing, and you can very easily run afoul of it by forward carrying it of what you find on Google. Leave it to a professional. This will protect the interests of you and your neighbors. That's just my thought. Thank you for nodding your head.
Just one quick question,
Yeah, go ahead.
Donald, and I'll leave you alone.
All right, thank you.
Would you be willing to show the owners of all of the associations in here the cost of one investigation that
Yeah,
you're doing
absolutely.
for them? Just show them the invoice for the one investigation for
Actually,
each
Lee, the
association.
invoice is sitting on my desk right now. I just was going to bring it to, we get a monthly invoice.
Can you just tell us how much it costs for one investigation?
It depends on the where, who, how, and when, right? New York, add 40. The typical one is, let's say criminal and let's say we're doing this is for a sale. It's going to be criminal and financial, right? The typical charge is $35. Add 40 to that if the person came from the 5 boroughs, New York City. Guess what? A lot of people come from New York City. Add to that. As soon as we get an international, that can go.
I got you. I
That can go
understand.
to anywhere of $1,000. I'll give you the example that I give because I can't take it out of my mind. I had an applicant who was applying to live in Camden. She was born in Iran. She's a Persian Jewish person. She immigrated to Israel. From Israel, she lived in Kew Gardens for 30 years. And after that, she came here, rented for a year, and then she wanted to buy a unit. We did investigations for every one of the places that she lived, paid every one of the charges, and then when the screening reports came back, the board, they were from like the Midwest or something, thought she was like the Ayatollah Khomeini's wife or something. They wanted a legal opinion. The lady had more money than God and no criminal. We got the opinion for them. That one was over $1,500, more than 10 times what we take in for the 150 we.
That sounds like an exception to the rule.
It is an
Would you
exception
be
to the rule.
willing to give?
But that's why I'm saying
Would you
it.
be willing to give the owners a copy of the receipt of the cost
Yes.
of that investigation
All they
when
have to do is
when
ask.
you hand them back their investigation? Because we just
Yeah,
want
that's correct.
transparency. That's all.
Hey,
And
listen.
if you can do it cheaper, I say do it cheaper wherever you can get it.
Listen,
But
you,
it's-
the unit owners, are entitled to see every invoice.
Right,
Every
right.
proposal. Come
Right.
in, I will print it out, and you get to see it, including
Yeah.
you, Lee. Just come in.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Just
That's
show
all.
everybody what you're charging, and then
Sure.
everything will be fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, I think everything's fine now, but that's just me.
Yes, ma'am.
Exactly, and how you treat that information. That's where the lawyer comes in. Look, and there's an insularity there that helps you from getting into trouble. But I'll give you something that happened this week. Somebody came up to me and said, your investigation screening report was garbage. I went on Google and I found that this person did this, and this. I said, I guarantee you that what you found were arrests. And we can't make decisions based on arrests, only convictions. This was for the criminal part. So that's a person that could easily go astray by taking that public. You're putting somebody in a position of calumny, and that's the lawyer tells me never do that.
Okay.
Of course not. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
I'll let-
Can I say something?
Who is it?
Okay, yeah. This
Oh, all
is-
the way in the back. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Gene.
Yeah, Gene Berman from Northampton Inn. My question is, if our ability to screen people is so wonderful, why do we have all these folks coming in and demolishing units and stuff like that? Isn't there some way to screen those people out, either by having better information to the realtors to tell them, hey guys, if you're buying in Century Village, this is what you are getting, and you are not supposed to do, tearing things down, and also maybe try and aim for a position of having owner occupants rather than investors, because I think it's the investors that are the people who want to do all these changes, so that then they can sell things for higher price.
Sing into the
Thank you.
choir, Gene.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, I'll entertain a motion. Have a great month.
Thank you.
Thank you.